Welcome back. This is month 7 of my pregnancy story. Alright, so let's just jump right back into it, right? This month I feel like I was the most pregnant so far. Obviously, I'm gonna get more pregnant. The belly is getting to the point where it's in the way. I can't put my socks on. I can't bend over. Getting up is just difficult anywhere, from the bed, from a chair, from the car. Constantly asking Alex, hey, can you come help me put on my shoes? It's just, my mobility is just cut in half. Again, they remind you to just stay active and to continue to walk or do yoga, and I'm just it's a strain. Everything is a strain. Everything is like a lot of effort, and I've never been overweight or anything like that. I know whenever people talk about whenever you're overweight, you have to carry all that weight, and it makes it like 10 times harder to just do normal activities. That's pretty much what I feel like. I feel like the baby at the end of the month is 4.5 pounds. So like I said, the baby right now at the end of the month is at 2,000 grams. I think right now at the end of the month my weight is 68 kilograms. I'm weighing out at the end of this month as 150 pounds. It's a lot of weight to carry around. Of course, this is on track, which is good, but you feel heavy, you feel slow, you feel sluggish, and you just can't move like you would like to. Not even so much of do activities you want to, just moving around is just, it's a task. It's a side quest. My hips, it seems to be worse after I walk or do yoga. But the construction of your pelvic bone, as your body is preparing for labor, it becomes more unstable. I've been describing this as if you have a really old Rubik's Cube, and whenever you try to turn it, it still kind of catches on itself, so it's really and that's exactly what it feels like with my hips. It's just whenever I move, walk, sit up, stand up, especially if I walked that day or did any yoga. I was like, yoga should make me feel better, but it's not making me feel better. Most of it's they're trying to get you to strengthen your pelvic floor, which is a lot of hip stretches, and I'm just I feel like it's making it more loose, which it's true. If it's the hormone itself, but I think it produces or releases relaxin, and relaxin is making all my joints really loose, obviously preparing me for labor. But it's a pain. Other than my limited mobility, you might hear me throughout this whole video kind of just breathing really heavily, and that's because the uterus is at its maximum height, if that makes sense. It's right underneath my rib cage, which obviously everything right now is not where it should be. Just your rib cage is expanded out, your lungs are a smaller capacity, your heart is where it should be, but a little bit squished around. All your organs are just kind of squished up and out. Even just talking for extended amount of time, projecting my voice, singing, just those things just kind of really make me breathless. And if I have to run to the next room because my mom's calling me on the video phone, she's gonna be like, why are you breathing so hard? I'm I had to run to the phone, which means I had to get up, I had to walk there fast enough to catch it, and still didn't catch it because obviously it took me too long. Getting out of the bed, actually, I was just talking to the doctor about this, and he kind of gave me this yeah, it happens to everyone, but I was My shortness of breath, I feel like it feels slightly excessive because if I'm laying down, I'm finding that I am still having shortness of breath while laying down. And I'm not laying on my back, I'm laying on my sides. And I still have my humidifier on. Spring is about to start, right? So it's getting slightly warmer. It's still pretty cold, but we're not using the heaters as much. I need some form of circulation when I have the humidifier on because it gets pretty humid in here as a bedroom because it's like there's no settings, you just on or off for the humidifier. Anyway, I just can't breathe sometimes. It's just hard to breathe. The doctor says it's fine. So I guess everything's fine. Okay, other than my loss of mobility or reduction of mobility, I have been diagnosed by the doctor as having low-grade anemia. This wasn't a surprise to me because my mom has been anemic for a very long time, and she always tells me, she's like, yeah, if you're crunching on some ice or your eyes, like right now my eyes are pretty dark and puffy, she's like, go take some iron. So like all my life my mom's like been worried that like I'm gonna be anemic, so she's just trying to make sure that I don't like feel the effects of low iron, because whenever she was pregnant with me and my brother and sister, she had twins, she said she fainted all the time, so she would just pass out. This sounds terrifying. Can you imagine just like going to a grocery store and seeing a pregnant lady just pass out? It sounds awful. So the doctor was like, it's not a lot, like you're not really anemic, but it's like you're like on that edge. So he's given me I asked him if I needed to take more iron supplements, and he was like, no, not really. He ended up giving me an iron shot of some sort, which was like like an injection of iron, I suppose. The first time I got it, I could have sworn the lady was actually drawing blood, because like I don't want to look at, getting injections or getting my blood drawn, so I take off my glasses. I'm not looking directly at my arm whenever they do whatever they're doing. So I don't know what it looked like specifically directly, but like she was having a hard time with whatever it was doing. It was painful. And I remember at the end that she took a vial with her, dark colored liquid, and I thought it was my blood. I thought she took a sample of my blood. I told the doctor, I was like, I thought that they drew my blood last time. He was like, no, they definitely give you an injection, right? So the blood work area, and she was like, yeah, we're doing the injection, right? To my interpreter, I was like, yeah, we're doing the injection. And she came in with a vial. After she was done with it, she tossed it away. So I'm like, this time it was significantly shorter, less painful, and I felt better afterwards. The first time I felt like woozy, like whenever you donate blood, you tend to like feel like lightheaded and stuff like that. I felt like that. I think the first time they did that, and they're just not gonna admit it, but that's fine. It's fine. I still have iron supplements. I've been taking them half dose just in case I don't overdo it. I'm trying to eat like dark leafy greens, but you can't have it for every meal. And pretty much the only effects I've had from the anemia is just more like breathlessness and a little bit of like, I would just feel woozy. I would just be like laying down, chilling, relaxing, and I'll just instantly was just like, whoa, the room is spinning. And so I've got to like figure out like, okay, let me go take some iron. I didn't take any iron today. Let me go get my bottle of water. Just trying to do everything to just like level out whatever's going on. So obviously I've, been talking to my mom about her pregnancies. She had a head injury like while she was pregnant with my brother and sister. So she's been suffering from memory loss like ever since. And so I expect that a lot of things that she had about her first pregnancy with me, or even just like small little bits of information, just gone. But I still ask, like, things like, her fainting while she was pregnant with me. I've asked her, like, hey mom, how long were you in labor with me? How big, like, how much did I come out with? How long, like was it a fast delivery? How much did you weigh? Like, all these questions I'm asking her about whenever she was pregnant with me, because I'm like, that's most likely gonna have some form of effect on, like, my own pregnancy. And then on the other side of this is Alex and his family. And, like, he's complained to me and talked about, like, how his parents just don't tell him stories. And I'm like, I remember asking him, I was like, how did your parents meet? And he was just like, I have no idea. I was like, what do you mean you don't know how your parents met? He's like, I think that they met at work, but I don't know the details. I was like, how did you not? Like, I know, like, every little bit and piece of my parents, like, meeting and, like, having me and all that stuff. So I'm like, this is tragic. So he's like, well, if they hadn't told me, I'm not gonna really ask. So they just kind of, like, left it as is. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ask your mom. I want to know. So Alex was a C-section baby, and so was one of his siblings. There wasn't much of, like, a how long was he in labor for. Apparently, Alex came out lighter than I came out, so I was the big baby. I'm like, oh no. We talked about breastfeeding for both moms. I was asking my mom, like, questions like, how long did you breastfeed for me? I remember the story of, like, I told you one day that I didn't want, breast milk anymore because I bit you. I know that story. So she's like, yeah, whenever you had teeth, basically whenever we stopped doing breastfeed. I'm like, okay, when was that? I don't know. You get, like, half stories with my mom. So also deferring things to my dad too. For example, I was like, how long were you in labor? She was like, I have no idea. Ask your dad, he most likely remember. And sure enough, he did. He was like, yeah, she was in labor for about 15 hours. She dilated really quickly, but there wasn't much progression during the labor process. So I guess, as, like, reason why I'm talking about this is, like, I'm recommending you, my viewer, that if you are pregnant, like, really, like, talking to the women in your life, like, your family members, or if, your mom, if you have your mom, and just ask them about, like their pregnant experience with you, because I feel like that's some really valuable information. Not only are you bonding with that woman, you're also, like, sharing an experience and, like, understanding, like, how their body works, and, kind of maybe anticipating a little bit how your body might work. So that's the reason why I mentioned this. Along with that, I want to say, just, like, talking to other women who are pregnant or just, like, delivered a baby or have small children, like, just talking to them, that, like, they're, like, your number one resource. People who want to help you, who want to give you items, like hand-me-downs, people who just want to talk because they never had anyone to talk to whenever they were pregnant, and then just, like, what struggles that happened to them. Just, like, hearing real life stories from people who are already in your life. I just recommend just talking to them. All right, next. So the one other thing I wanted to talk about that was really important is you need to be practicing your Japanese. You need to get, like, really comfortable with some of these terms. Like, for example, did you know that the word for push, like, all right, mom, it's time to push. Like, the term for push in that setting in Japanese is different than the term for, pushing a door or pushing a trolley. They're different pushes. Ikimu, and if someone asks you to push, it will conjugate as ikinde. So, please push. Or ikinde kudasai. So, like, you need to be practicing your Japanese because, like, you never know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. And I need to be able to communicate at least basically. Whenever something like that, like, alright, Ashley, it's time to push, or don't push, or, stuff like that. I've got a whole list. I want to recommend you guys. It's going to be up here on the thing, or here. It's going to be here. For you guys to, like, study. Like, it's time to study. I know I'm not like probably the best person to tell you to study, because like myself, I hadn't really studied as much as I wanted to. If you don't want to use the lists that I have here, just Googling pregnancy terms in Japanese, and just find yourself a set of list of vocabulary words and just stick with it. I'm doing like a range of two lists, one that's more general and one that's broken down really well. That's the one I have linked on. It has the Japanese kanji, the Japanese pronunciation, English, Korean, Chinese, kanji. I think it has French and Spanish, and it has them all listed out. Of like I want to say at least 50 to 100 terms of just important stuff that you need to be really familiar with. So I'm just strongly recommending that you start studying your Japanese, specifically focusing around pregnancy. So the last thing is, I'm not sure if you remember from last video, I promised you the items that we're going to be purchasing. So I asked my mom to be a host for a baby shower, because she decided, because she's terrified of coronavirus, she decided to not travel to Japan, and also with all the crazy like border restrictions and stuff like that. Because I asked her if she wanted me to get my doctor to write up like a provision so she can come. She said, "Don't even worry about it. I'm just probably not going to come, right?" And I was like, I know she's heartbroken. I know I'm heartbroken. So I asked her to, participate in a different way. Like, hey, Mom, like, could you be the host for my baby shower? So she was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. And then she was like, she forgot that conversation later on. And I mentioned it. She's like, wait, I'm doing the baby shower. Yes, Mommy, you said yes. She goes, oh, I don't really remember agreeing, but I guess, okay, I'll do it. So she asked me to make a baby registry, and originally I was like, I don't want to do that. I think it's going to be too difficult because of the fact that, like, when you do something like Amazon, right, is that the problem is that items are not in the same countries' websites. So, like, Amazon.america.com versus Amazon.co.jp or Japan. Those are two different websites. I know that they seem like they're the same website and you can just order whatever you want and just ship it from wherever. No. For example, like, I've got this stupid bonnet. Well, it was interesting when I got it because it's like got like a satin lining, but it makes my hair look a cone head when I wear it. And I'm like, I want to get a better bonnet, but if I want to do something on Amazon, it has to be something that is shipped to Japan or made locally, and they just don't ship hair bonnets in Japan because there's not really much of a demand. There's a lot of black women here and black men too, but there's not enough. There's not enough. So in order to get like a really pretty cute bonnet, I basically have to order it from America and have someone ship it to me. It's not available here, right? And so I was like, I'm not sure if I should do a registry, or how people are going to get it to me. And so I'm just like, I'll do it, but like, it's not my preference. And sure enough, we made our registry. We made our cute little invitations for the baby shower. And then, we ended up like, my mom was like, yeah, people are talking about how a lot of the items are not available on your registry. I was like, what do you mean? I'm looking at the registry right now and it's completely fine, right? All these things are there in stock. And so me and Alex had to go through like our computers and stuff and figure out how someone would access this link that we created from America, right? So we had to like use like a VPN or like go incognito and try to like figure out how someone would do it. And if you just open the link and you don't log in, and if you're in America, the shipping might still say US. Now that's a problem because it reads to the item itself that it's not available. Obviously, it's exclusive to Japan for whatever item it is. So I told my mom, I said, hey, go ahead and just tell everyone that if they're going to use the registry, because we've also talked about they can just give us cash gifts, and we would just go buy whatever we need, or buy things in bulk like diapers and wipes and stuff like that. That if they're going to use the registry, they need to either log in or change the delivery from the US to Japan. That seems to fix it. So if you're having that same problem for any registry, wedding registry, baby registry, or other lists and stuff like that, like, and they say like, oh, I can't get the item because you're on the wrong account, you're on the wrong website. So, that was the hiccup I expected, and sure enough, it happened. So, what's next? The actual registry. So let's talk about the things we bought, or the things that we're attempting to buy. We already bought the car seat. The car seat's already installed in the car. We also went ahead and bought a cute little baby on board sticker. Alex went and got some dirty rags, if that makes sense, like the rags you would just use for like clean up and spit up and stuff like that. He bought like a whole pack. We bought, it's like a multi-use pillow that's supposed to be both like a body pillow and a nursing pillow, so I could put it around my waist and nurse the baby. So it's supposed to be like dual purpose. Unfortunately, it's slightly too short for my long body. So I don't really use it to sleep. I know I really wanted to use it. So I've just been basically like propping myself up with pillows. So we have certain items that are not on Amazon. They're from Akachan Hanpo, our local store. It's a registry we put, but we know people can't access it because it's a website that's in Japanese. And I was like, I don't want to have to like explain to people how to translate a webpage. So I was like, no. I just went ahead and made a visual list, and then wrote, I translated it, so I took a screenshot of it, translated, and then have the prices in US dollars, because it still has it in yen. And on that list, it's a very, very short list, and I, again, expect that most of these items that are not on our list, we're going to buy in person. So we put a baby futon set on the Agachan Hampo, and I was really concerned because I was like, how are we going to use this, right? All the pictures I've seen have people using the comforter for the baby, and I'm like, that's dangerous. That's really dangerous. I understand that like it looks really good, and like they also use like a pillow and stuff. They use a pillow and comforter for their small infant, and I'm like, that's such a hazard. We decided to just not use those parts. I think it this set doesn't come with a pillow, but it does come with a comforter. And Alex was saying, well, if anything, we'll just use it whenever the child gets older. Whenever the risk of suffocation or SIDS is significantly decreased. Our new apartment has tatami, so we can actually, like, all three of us actually, like, use futon, which is going to be nice. Because whenever you actually sleep on, like, tatami, and, like, have a futon, it feels so nice. It's so comfortable. Ah. So we also put on the list a baby carrier. It's really cute. Oh, I forgot to talk about the theme. So the theme is teddy bears, steel, gray, and yellow. I told Alex, like, this is the theme, right? Because, like, we're just collecting small items and then trying to figure out, like, what do we like? What do we want as the theme? We're not gonna have, like, a baby room because we don't have enough stuff yet. Like, don't have a designated baby room, right? We figured at least the items themselves could be, in a theme. And I was like, yeah, they're like, I showed your mom and my mom the theme of the baby shower. He goes, I thought we were going to do ducks. And I was like, dogs would be really cute, but you should have said something beforehand. Because I already told them that there's going to be teddy bears. Just miss high five. Next baby. This store is like, they have a lot of new items and they have a lot of brands that are like well known and stuff like that. So I pretty much just picked their recommended carrier. I didn't really do much research myself. I probably should, but just as long as, it meets the requirement of like the baby's not gonna fall and that the baby's legs are at a M shape instead of like a upside down V, because they need to be able to support them. They need to have support. So I assumed that this one, based off of the photos I looked at, that it was good. I put a few pacifiers on here, a few kimono and like onesie types, Japanese onesies basically. Postpartum support, and like one swaddle. Because like I couldn't find, like in the store you go and you're like, oh, there's so much stuff, but like on the website there's like, you have to like look for everything, and like I'm not sure if I want to get this one or this one, so I just put it on the list, put the price, and then we're gonna still go out and buy those items anyway. So back to the Amazon registry. Again, we're trying to figure out, do we want crib or no crib, right? And I was like, I'm not sure if we should use a crib, so I decided against it, right? I was like, we should do something else. We can do futon, but like, what else can we do that's be more like, I don't know, safe and another option for the baby to nap in? I know a lot of people want to use like the bouncers or the swings, but if you really look and read into the fine print, most of them say don't let your baby sleep in them. Like, if the baby gets gnawed off in it, that's fine, but you should take the baby out and then place it in a flat place like a crib, or obviously in our case it would be futon, or one other option, a bassinet. We talked to one of our friends who had a baby like a year and a half ago, and they said they bought this really fancy bassinet, but was pretty much where the baby slept, but they were like, he got big so fast and he ended up like standing up in it. It's like, well, this is no longer, we can't use this anymore. uh, so I was talking to another friend who just had her baby in January. It's such a cute little baby, and she was like, well, we have this other bassinet that we had on our registry. I'm just gonna send it to you, and you can buy it if you want to. And sure enough, I was like, all right, that's good enough to me. Like, you guys use it, it's safe enough. It's here in Japan. So the baby most likely will be sleeping on in the bassinet or on the floor with us. The Dr. Brown's bottle set, and it's 5 bottles, and they are 2 different ounce size. And of course, the thing with Dr. Brown's, I used to work in Target, and it was like the most recommended like bottle or feeding system. Like almost everyone, and even like Target was like, get this, buy this. We have all these different things that attach and work. Like, it's just great. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get a big old set of this. But then there's also specific systems for those bottles. So I went ahead and put on a Dr. Brown's bottle warmer, because another YouTuber recommended that, it just saves time. And I was thinking to myself, like, if I've got a baby on one hand and warm a bottle up, or, you were slightly too late realizing the baby's cues of being hungry, and now the baby's fussy, it's like, okay, now now I need to, like, quickly warm this bottle up. I think it does it within, like, within, like, a minute or something crazy like that, so I went ahead and just put that on there. I couldn't find like a specific like Dr. Brown's bottle cleaner set, so I just kind of picked the cheapest thing. I wanted to have a good range of like big ticket items and cheap items, right? And I wanted to have a good range of like, kind of, some of my friends are broke. I'm broke, but then I have other friends that aren't, and who want to welcome our baby here. With like, good gifts, because they love us and they really want to support us and they know how hard it is to be a mom. So I wanted to have a good range. So I picked like a really cheap bottle cleaning set. And I picked like a really cheap bottle drying rack because I thought that it would make more sense just having a specific area to for cleaning and feeding the baby in the kitchen. I just thought that made more sense. Another YouTuber recommended that you use the Haka silicone manual breastfeed. She was recommending that you use it like while you're breastfeeding on one breast. Sometimes the other one will just start flowing, and she's like, you can just catch that stuff. So, you just kind of latch it on, and it'll just like catch whatever's coming out, or whatever, and you can refrigerate it later. I was like, that sounds great. My mom recommended that I put breast pump, but I didn't know which one to get. Did not know like what would be the best brand, what the best type. That's something I still haven't figured out yet. So I don't have a breast pump on the list. That's like a machine type. Because like I said, the other one's like a manual. So you can technically pump this way. I don't know. So that's for most of the feeding. It was recommended that we use Avent pacifiers because it'll prevent an overbite. So like it's an overbite, and whenever I got the orthodontist, he was like, yeah, your teeth just don't fit. So then, like, before I got the braces, like, I had this big, when I was a baby, I had gap, and the gap closed, and it, like, pressed, and everything crowded. And they're like, yeah, it's because you got this overbite. So, I was like, I don't want my baby to have an overbite. Like, it's such a hassle. He's gonna have bad teeth anyway, because both me and Alex had really bad teeth and had to get orthodontic work. Anyway, I just went ahead and just put on the list little cute items, random cute items, because some people want to buy like a little like kid tableware set, grooming. So I got this really cute like little yellow bear grooming set. Just looks adorable. It's cheap. It's whatever. I put a lot of books on the list, both English books and Japanese books, and diversity, because our baby is gonna have to experience a lot of things, like what does it mean to be different, not only from my peers but my parents. And then of course like just really simple like first words and like shapes. So I was told not to put too much baby clothes on your registry because it's the first thing people want to buy, and you don't know about the sizes and stuff like that. So I mean, I basically just put stuff that was like white onesies and kimonos, and a few, like only like 3 or 4 items that are just kind of cute. All the rest of it's pretty much really generic, and there's not a lot of it. So the last item, or the last set of items that we have on our list, regards to diaper changing. And we decided early on, of course, one of the other big reasons why we moved to Japan was because of the fact that it's a more sustainable country and people aren't like political about recycling and trying to protect the world from just climate change. And so we've talked about do we want to have disposable diapers or reusable ones, right? First time parents, we don't really know what system is going to work the best for us or which one we're going to like. I remember giving one of my friends who has like a 3-year-old kid now a set of like a starting diaper shell and pads, I think. And I was like, girl, let me know how it works. Like, if you use these, let me know, please. But she never did, and so I didn't push her because she probably didn't use them, and that's totally fine. But I was like thinking to myself, I was like, I don't know what system is right. We decided to go ahead and do a hybrid of the two. Of doing, you use the disposable diapers when you go out, and then you use the reusable diapers when you're at home. And like I was like, that works. That's a good system, because having to carry around your dirty diaper for a reusable set is like sounds like more difficult than just having more disposable ones when you go out, and you don't go out for too long. And that the daycare required that they used disposable diapers, so that was something important. Because we also talked about like, do we want zippies or buttons? And everyone's like, zips are better, but they're so loud. I think the kimonos would probably be the best option for us, honestly, because you just wrap your baby in it and you just tie the little loops and that's that. Because snaps, I know snaps are. If you have too many snaps, it's uncomfortable. It takes too long. Your baby's writhing. This is my experience from my brother and sister because we're about 8 years difference, so two babies trying to help my mom, trying to like do diaper changes and stuff like that, and just like snappy is like you would miss one almost every time. So I was thinking that zippers would be better. They say just something that's like a full body footsie. Like, because you don't need socks. You don't need socks. Don't buy socks. I know they're cute don't buy socks. Like, I'm gonna lose half of them. So, anyway, going back to diaper changes. I told him, I said, I don't really care about having a crib or a crazy fancy chair. I said, like, really the only big item that I think that we should have is a changing station. I need to have a designated space just to change the baby. That's what I thought that would be the most important. And we're not having like a specific like room that's the baby's gonna have for the rest of their life. We're going to an apartment, in Japan. So it was kind of like, all right, we're just gonna be sharing space basically for at least a year. And the only designated spot that I thought would be the most important would be a changing diaper area. So I went ahead and put on the list I kept trying to describe it to everyone. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds so dumb. It's just a simple, like, almost like a shelf where you put the changing mat on top, and then there's areas for you to put, like, diapers, wipes, like, powder, whatever you want to store on the bottom. That's your changing area. No problem, right? We went ahead and put a small diaper washing machine, specifically only for the pads. So you get a shell, right? That's supposed to be adjustable for like different sizes of your baby. And then you basically get these cotton or bamboo, it's a really popular one now, pads, and those are the liners inside, just like they use reusable pads now. You basically just change the liner, and that's what you wash. We just have a specific designated washing machine just for that. I was like asking the friend who uses one. I was like, do you use? He said he used bleach. It's like, dude, like, isn't that really bad for your baby? He's like, oh, it's fine. We haven't chosen the detergent. That's something that we're gonna think about later. Some people recommend, like, if you go on YouTube and you just look at everyone's stuff, some people recommend some really expensive stuff. But some of the stuff on my list is really not expensive. Example, this Combi paper diaper processing pot, which is basically a knockoff of the Ubu or something like that, which is really expensive. It's supposed to like twist the diaper in the bag so you don't have as much smell if you're having disposable diapers like that, right? And I was like, this one's like significantly cheaper. It's like $25. Like, you don't need to spend all your money, especially if there's someone else that's already made like another example for it. Everything else is miscellaneous. Like, there's not much on the list. I guess that's pretty much the end of the list. I'll just say that. That's pretty much the end of the list so far. I'm not a stickler of like, oh my gosh, we have to have everything on the list. Like, everything needs to be bought before the baby gets. No. Like, half of the stuff you don't know if you're going to use. The other half is like, it's useless. Like, for example, like the friend that had, the really nice expensive bassinet, which was a gift, just couldn't use the bassinet after like half a year. So, it's just kind of like this whole thing of just a guessing game, just like it is for parenting. Like, you don't know what your baby's gonna be like, or behavior, or, anything. So, we also have to, like, anticipate that our baby's gonna like a specific way. So, like, we're talking about, like, bouncers. We didn't put a bouncer on, or a swing, because I'm like, there's no point. If the point is to make the baby comfortable enough to fall asleep, I'm gonna, like, leave the baby there. That's not safe. So, don't put it on the list. But, for example, like, some people are talking about, like, your baby has to, like bouncing for having a bouncer. And I was like, I don't know if my baby is gonna like bouncing or not. Everything's pretty much like a guessing game. And I think that's completely fine. Like I've been telling, both moms, I'm like, hey, like, if people want to give us gifts that not only is on our registry, just give us money, and we're going to use that money to buy gifts. If they have a designated reason for that money, of saying, I want you to use this money for a stroller, we'll do that. But if you have, like, here's, $200, do whatever you need to spend it on, and we realize that, like, oh snap, like, we never got, like, baby shampoo or whatever, and we just go to the store and get some, like, that's what that's going to be for. So I hope that this will be helpful for you building your own registry, your own list or shopping list. You don't need to spend all the money. Like, you don't have to spend too much money. Like, half the stuff that we've actually bought has been secondhand or discounted. And again, I already showed you guys with the coupons. Like, use your coupons, talk to people, ask for hand-me-downs. Be smart. Be smart about the whole situation. So, for the next video, I know I want to have the planned all 9 months videos, right? But, as you know, at the end of the month is whenever I make these videos. So right now it's like, I'm 8 months. 8 months in like a week or something like that, right? And I'm talking about month 7. So, for month 9, by the end of month 9, I'll have delivered the baby, right? And I just want to make sure that, like, I have enough time to actually make those videos. So the next video might be kind of packed, specifically just in anticipation of I might not be able to have a 9th month video or have it in a timely manner, right? But the next video, I know for sure I'm going to be talking about our preparations for labor. So, like, things like having a physical birth plan. Does that make sense? Like putting phone numbers on the refrigerator, stuff like that. Not to mention our hospital bag or set of bags. And I'll also talk about, like, obviously the last little bits of woe of, like, being pregnant, most likely. Because I anticipate that the 9th month will be month 9 and labor, right? So most likely that will be taken care of. Like, that video is most likely going to be part 1 or 2. I mean, I that might be a good option too. I'll keep you updated as to how I want to break it up and when everything's going to be posted. So you guys get all the information you need if you're planning to have babies in Japan. Alright, lovelies. Bye! He's like kicking right now. He's like... It's interesting whenever he, like, decides to talk. Sometimes he is to talk, to move. He tends to move whenever I'm talking, or he responds whenever Papa's here.